Hello, my name is Muzz, and today I'm going to give you my impressions on the Modern Warfare alpha that just happened over the weekend. My initial impressions are I was very underwhelmed, very unimpressed with the game mode. We'll get into the actual gameplay as such, but the actual game mode, 2 versus 2, I wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't think it was anything revolutionary like they were kind of pushing. Granted, I didn't play with any of my friends, but even then I don't think it would have amounted to much more than just a 2 versus 2. Nothing really that special about it. I felt the map design was a big part of this. I thought a lot of them were very uninspired, very boring actually to play in. Most of them consisted of 3 lanes that were straight paths. Fair enough, you might have had a few different obstacles, you might have had different vantage points, different stuff like that, but when you boil it down, it was a lot of maps that had 3 lanes that were boring. There was one map that I actually liked, the one with the bridge. I thought that added a different dynamic to it, different routes, but yeah, it was just not a very... If these are the maps they're going to go with, which I assume they are, I will not be playing this. Just didn't enjoy it. Didn't enjoy the maps, which I feel like are a big part of COD's multiplayer. Is you have to have a good map, because the gameplay's always been solid. So really, it boils down to having an interesting map that has interesting lanes, interesting different aspects to it. Whereas these maps were just, a lot of them were just boxes, little squares that had different obstacles. Some of them had different heights of terrain, which might have made it interesting if they all weren't straight. As I said, the bridge one had different heights of terrain, but because you had different lanes that you could go down, it made it a lot more interesting. And I just felt like the rounds were just too quick. Like, I know it's 2 versus 2, but it didn't take much. Obviously, it's a COD game for you to go down, and then you potentially be waiting for like 30 seconds, and then the round was... It was very stop-start. I didn't like that part where there was like... Sometimes the actual round was shorter than the build-up to a round. Some of the rounds last like 5 seconds. Others, I think the longest one, maybe a couple of minutes, if that. I just felt, there was no real urgency, no real tension in it, because you knew it was a short round, there was multiple rounds to go. It didn't really have a big effect on me, apart from getting me angry a few times, because I wasn't enjoying it as much. And another thing, I'm unsure about the health regeneration. Now, to me, COD has always been, arcadey. You get shot, you hide for a little bit, your health regenerates, which some people don't like. Me personally, I like Battlefield's system a lot more realistic. But I appreciate that COD has to have this system, because if you had to heal in COD, it would be, it would be too stop-starty. It would break the flow of combat when COD is about fast action. Trying to rack up these incredible kill streaks, ducking in and out of cover, moving about. It's fun, it's action packed. Whereas Battlefield is a little bit more, methodical. Got to take your time, use a bit of strategy. Not saying that there's no strategy in COD, but there's a lot more in Battlefield. And I just thought that the way it was portrayed in the alpha was that your health regenerated, your screen would go grey, you would hide a little bit, and then it would return to normal. So in my mind, because I've been playing COD for a number of years, your health was regenerated. It was fine. However, that was not the case. Your health did not regenerate. Now, I don't have a problem with this, but again, I think if COD is going to have this system, it's going to break the flow of combat, because COD is not a Battlefield. It's supposed to be fast paced action. And I feel like if you have to sit there, and they didn't have any health items in the game itself, but if there is, or maybe they did, I just didn't use it, but if there is, then I feel like it's going to have a huge impact on the way COD is actually played, and maybe that's what they're going for, as we'll get into when I talk about the gameplay. I felt it was a little bit more like a Battlefield, but for a COD game, is that what I want? Maybe not, or maybe I'd like to see their interpretation of it, but from what I played in the alpha, I was not really that excited about the game mode. The map design was very poor, in my opinion, and the health regeneration stuff, or lack thereof, was confusing, to say the least. So that's my major sort of gripes with it, but I want to actually say something positive about this, because I did think that there was some good things within this alpha, that, you know, at the minute the negatives are outweighing the positives, but there are some things that I'd like to speak about. And first I'd like to start off with the weapons. The weapons in this, you know, COD weapons I've never really had an impact. They feel a little bit like pea shooters, which, you know, might sound like a negative thing, but it suits COD style in that way. However, these weapons felt meaty. They felt like they had a kick. When you pulled the trigger on shotgun, you could feel it. You know, you could see the impact, the actual movement or the animation that went into the design of a lot of the weapons are, you know, impactful. They show that the weapons have a real weight to them, which is what COD hasn't done in a while. And then you go on to the movement. I think the movement was a little bit more sluggish than previous COD. It wasn't as twitchy. You know, I had a little bit more of a realistic feel to it. And because I've bashed the game mode so much, I actually want to give it credit for the randomization of the guns and the loadouts and the scopes and the different things. That really gave it a sense of, you know, we were on equal playing fields, and it was down to, you know, who was the best player, which I thought was, or players, which I thought was really good. And it forces you to sort of try out different guns, when a lot of times in COD you find that one weapon that you're really good with, or is the overpowered one, and you just settle on that. Whereas this actually forced you to use different weapons, forced you to use different equipment which you might not always use, and sort of forced you into a different style of play. You know, having a shotgun one round to having a sniper rifle the next, it's a very different feel. You've got to think differently. So I appreciated that aspect of it. But yeah, for the whole time I was playing it, I was just like, I'm not feeling this mode. I'm not feeling it at all. I think COD has always been about, you know, team deathmatch, search and destroy. It feels like it's a clear attempt at like an esports. You know, they're trying to really create an esports mode with this, and I don't really think it's going to be that engaging. I think the rounds are too short. Strategy, yeah, there might be strategy there, but there's only, again, it comes down to the map design isn't that interesting. So I think if they are going for this route, I don't think I'll be interested in it. There might be people who are. I've seen some people react very positively to it, which again, you know, is good. But for me, I want to see the traditional game modes, and I do like the feel of the weapons and the movement, so that's a big plus. And it'll be interesting to see if they actually are trying a more sort of heavier, realistic take on the COD multiplayer or the COD gameplay. So it'll be interesting to see. So that's my impressions. Let me know what you think. Am I way off base, or do you agree with some of the things that I've said? Let me know. I want to hear. I want to see if people are, you know, genuinely interested in the 2 versus 2, or they think it's a bit of a dud, like I kind of think it is. So anyway, if you like the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. We want to have more videos like this. And any thoughts, comments, general hostile remarks, leave them below. Thank you very much.